Bill, thanks for the intro. Wow. That was, it's funny to think back to how long I've been with the company and the fact that it has been over 10 years. And when I look around the room when I'm back in the office and I see the people that I work with, I'm really proud to be part of this company. I like where we're going. The presentation that we're going to go through is, it's part of the IR presentations that we're dealing with. So as Bill mentioned, we're out there in the field doing this type of work, and this is part of what we're showing. First of all, it's a standard disclaimer that we go through every time we give the presentation. This is all available on our website, so you can see this. They're forward-looking statements. Let's skip this. We passed a resolution a few minutes ago. So when I came to work this morning, I was working for AeroMechanical, and when I come into work tomorrow, I'm working for a company called FLYHT. We've been under that brand name for a while now, but it's nice to have it changed officially. We are now going to be FLY on the TSX. It's a little more appropriate than AMA. We shouldn't get the phone calls for air conditioning systems anymore. We're hoping we get more phone calls for AFIRS units in uptime. There will be a presentation, a video that's available on the website, I think tomorrow, that has a little description about that. Tammy filmed that the other day, and it'll be available for download and viewing online. Bill mentioned that I've been with the company for a long time. This is a little bit of history. The unit on the left is our first AFIRS unit. That went in the coat closet of a Dash 8. Took up the whole floor of the unit, of the closet. Inside that was a big old computer. It recorded things on an Omega zip drive. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but if you do, you've probably got some gray hair like me. I don't know. With that, we proved the concept. And that was really important for us, because once we proved the concept, we knew that we were onto something. And the company moved forward with a lot of the information that we gathered on those original Dash 8 aircraft. The box in the middle is an AFIRS 220. That is the product that we have several hundred flying right now with. So that's where most of our recurring revenue is coming from. That's been the bread and butter for the company for quite some time. It's proven to be a very reliable product. And from that, we've launched into the 228, the Bravo and the Sierra version. Those are the product on the right is a Bravo. That's the one we'll be talking about a little bit. There's actually one over here on the side. That's a certified unit ready to go into an aircraft. The Sierra model is the same format, but with different components on the inside, additional modem. And I'll go into some of the differences in a moment with that. Excuse me. So I want to discuss just briefly some of the capabilities of the AFIRS 228, because these capabilities are quite different than the 220. In addition to everything that the 220 does, the 220 with all of its features, all of that is covered in the 228. So the 228 does everything and more. There's nothing that we do currently with a 220 that we can't do with the 228. So there are three components I want to talk about with the 228, and the first one is the MCDU interface. That's the multi-purpose control display unit interface. And over beside the 228 there is an MCDU. The type of aircraft that we're moving into, so the big Boeings and the Airbuses, a lot of the ATRs and the Dash 8 aircraft, they have MCDU displays, and the flight crews are used to interfacing with these products. It's how they interface with different systems on board the aircraft. The 228 has the ability to display information and provide functionality through the MCDU. This is a huge leap forward in our product line. The 220 couldn't do this. The 220 had to interface with an EFB, an electronic flight bag. It had a simple indicator panel. We can display all kinds of information through the MCDUs. Flight crews, again, we end up with a tab. AFIRS shows up on that MCDU. Incoming messages, all kinds of display information comes through it. Text messaging, and maybe most importantly is the SATCOM dialing. It's all handled through that. Another key feature of the 228 that is different than the 220 is to perform the SDU functions, the satellite data unit functions. So the poster that we have here is referencing ACARS and gaps in ACARS coverage. ACARS systems typically send data via VHF stations on the ground, but when an aircraft is flying out over the water, over the ocean, you could have the best ACARS system on board the aircraft, but you can't get the data off So that data has to be transmitted in a different way, and the 228 offers the ability to transfer that data via Iridium. So the system, an ACAR system could automatically, it would try to send the data via the ground. That doesn't work because they're over the ocean. It would defer either possibly to HF, if not to HF, directly to the AFIR system where the data gets sent to the ARINC and CTA servers. This is a great way for us to leverage existing ACAR's customers. So we don't, we provide functionality that actually leverages the existing legacy system on board the aircraft. 228 is new for that, new for us. Another key feature that the 228 offers that the 220 doesn't is a level D and a level E space. And I'll explain what that means. Level D and E are different DO-178 certification levels. DO-178 is the certification for the software that goes on a product like the AFIRS 228. Certified software has to run in the level D or higher space. So all the functionality that is core to the 228 runs in that level D space. We also offer level E partition in the same product that lets us run our traditional ELA. So all the things that we've done on the 220 which are not certified can also be run in the 228 on the uncertified partition of the product. Having a dual partition system is unique in the industry. I think it's been a big selling feature for us. It allows us to continue with all the work that we've done in the past and gives us the ability to move forward in the certified area as well. In 2011, some of the contracts and achievements. We had 8 contracts, 24 AFIRS 220 and 7 of the 228. So you can see that back in 2011, we were starting to get some leverage into the 228, into the 228 arena. It was great. We expanded with 11 aircraft in Nigeria, and 24 AFIRS units were shipped. Those were all 220s. I know the guy on the left, but I have to refer to my notes to see who the other ones are. So some contracts and achievements continued. So this is Bill with the Honorable Rob Merrifield, Minister of State Transport, at the announcement of the SADE funding. So this is where we received, this was the presentation where we, where the official announcement was made that we had received the SADE funding. This is Derek Taylor with our Director General, or with the Director General Harold Demurin from Nigeria, and I think this was at the opening of the Nigeria Operations Center. This is a picture that I took of Steve Harkey after the successful first flight of the AFIRS 228. You know, I took the picture because I cut the nose off the airplane. We got a couple of camera photography people within the company who keep pointing this out to me that I didn't frame this properly. That aircraft is a Hawker 750. We trialed the AFIRS 220 on that product for about 2 years, and then we moved on to the 228 to complete the trials on it. That was a pretty it was a pretty aggressive flight test that day. Steve, I wish he was here. He could give a bit of an account. They had a couple of ex-RAF pilots flying the plane, and they were given permission to have some fun. I think Steve enjoyed it. And this is Bill and Tom receiving our Alberta Export Award. And this was in the category of advancing technologies. And this was fairly recent. This was maybe 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. So a recognition within the province of Alberta of the work that we're doing and the fact that we're advancing in new fields. Some of the 2011 financial numbers. And again, all of this information is available in our reports. So I'm just drawing attention to a couple of items here. One that you note is the drop from the financial year 2010 to 2011 of our R&D. So that drop is due to releasing Sierra Nevada from the work that they were doing. So we brought the work back at the beginning of 2011 to Calgary, and we increased our staff and our contractors in-house to continue work with the 228 development. On March 9th of 2012, and it's nice to be able to peg it down to such a precise moment. We passed 1 million hours with the AFIRS 220 product. There are a couple of things I like to point out about this. One is you can't reach 1 million hours on aircraft without having a fair number of product flying. That puts us in some pretty good company. To reach 1 million hours, you have to have at least a few hundred aircraft. You can't do this with 5 installations. It's also 1 million hours of real-time data analysis. That is very different than putting a tracking system on board an aircraft and just reporting latitude and longitude information. That's 1 million hours of real-time analysis of all of the FDR data, drawing conclusions about the state of the aircraft, transmitting the information via Iridium, and having Uptime report it and send it out to the various companies that need the information. It's a real achievement, and it was, for people that have been with the company for a while, that was quite a milestone to reach. The picture that you're looking at is a snapshot at one moment of all the aircraft we have flying around the world. Only the companies that would allow us to show that information in a presentation. We're on all 7 continents, including Antarctica, where where we have a customer that flies an A319 onto an ice shelf. So Q1 contracts for 2012, 49 aircraft already. 37 of the 228 Bravo and 12 of the 220. So nice to see a shift to the 228 product from the 220. The 220 doesn't interface with as many systems on board the aircraft, but it's still a viable, very good product for what we call data-poor aircraft. We're not going to end up with stock of 220s that we can't get rid of. The contracts are for $8 million over 5 years. So that's the recurring revenue model that we are focusing on. So we get the product on board the aircraft, and we provide the services and increase the services, add the value to the customer by providing new functionality. We've got our largest Canadian customer in that group, which is nice. It's always great to have a customer closer to home. And nice to be working with the Canadian companies. Also in Q1, we finally landed the NetJets contract. That is for the AFIRS 228 Bravo to be replaced by the 228 Sierra by 2013. So the difference between the Bravo and the Sierra is that the Bravo model is the uncertified version. The Sierra is the certified version that will offer the functionality that the CPDLC, controller pilot data link, and the other functions that need to be certified. NetJets is the largest fractional operator of business jet aircraft, actually I think of any aircraft. The contract that we have is for 30 Hawker Beechcraft. That is their entire NetJet Europe fleet of Hawker aircraft. And that's quite an achievement, because what it means is that they decided to do the entire fleet. They invested heavily. They didn't want to just run it on half of their Hawker fleet. They bought into actually the entire Hawker fleet.